Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Community Engagement Podcast. I'm Gary Bryson, and joining me today is Jodie McFarlane, who is commonly known in our local community as Head Elf. And she's from an organisation by the name of Night Before Christmas. Second half of the show, I'll have Heather joining me to ask some questions about volunteering. Just before we start, Jodie, I just want to say a big thank you to you for joining me today and taking the time to join in on the podcast. I know you're an exceptionally busy woman. How are you feeling? You okay?
Yeah, feeling okay. Yeah, I'm just glad to be doing the podcast because it's good to get the word out there about the charity. So
good stuff, and that's what we're here for, to promote your organisation and let people know exactly what you do and just how much time and effort you do actually put into the organisation itself, because I am aware that, from talking to you just briefly in the past, that you spend a heck of a lot of time, not just you, but your family as well. And it's an absolute amazing effort that you put into what you do. If we could just start off by talking about the organisation itself. Night Before Christmas, how long has it actually been in existence and how did it actually start?
Well, it actually started back in 2015, so basically from what I always like to commonly term as one random act of kindness. So my daughter Tegan was 12 at the time, and every Christmas Christmas had been special for us, and we had always had, like on Christmas Eve, new pyjamas, hot chocolate, wee teddy bear. It had been a tradition that my mum had always done for us, so Christmas was magical. And so I made sure that for Tegan, that was a magical time as well. And she asked me, "Mum, do all children have a magical time at Christmas? Just like me?" And I said, "Well, not every child is as lucky as you, Tegan." And she was quite devastated by this. She was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, not every child is as lucky as you." So she asked if we could help some other children, so basically some strangers. And we did at the time. It was shoe boxes, and it was for a local food bank, and we took down approximately about 90 shoe boxes to that local food bank. And actually it was myself and my mum, Isabel McFarlane, and my daughter, and we coaxed in some friends and some family, and get such a great feeling out of it. We get such a big buzz, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." And knowing that we'd maybe put a smile on a child's face, we'd never get to know if we had or not, but we'd maybe put a smile on a child's face. It kind of grew from there. So the shoe boxes, we decided that sometimes it was kind of hard because you get smaller shoe boxes, you get bigger shoe boxes, so each child was going to get a different size. So now, fast forward, this is our 9-year point. This is our 9th campaign, and we do it as bags, so we call it Red Bags Full of Joy. And that again was a term that was coined by one of our elves, one of our volunteers. So we call it Red Bags Full of Joy. And we last year managed to help 6,840 children and vulnerable adults in South West Scotland. So
That's a massive amount.
yeah, from 90 to that amount, yeah.
That's just phenomenal work. So who was the actual driving force behind it then? Was it yourself?
So it was myself and my mum, and I think I've been brought up in a household where kind of kindness is there as being the mainstay of the family. We were always involved in lots of things within the community. My parents always made sure we didn't have much growing up. We didn't have much, but they always made sure we were made to feel special. Things like Christmas time was a special time. So for me, knowing that there are families out there that were the same as what I was when I was a child, but maybe particularly in the cost of living crisis, they're not getting a chance to have that magic, to have that Christmas, that great kind of feeling. I really wanted to do something, and my mum is just like, she's like Superwoman. She is honestly my hero at times. She's like Superwoman. So she we'd said, "Can we do it together?" And we're like, yes. And we ended up, friends of ours, Gail and Taylor from Paisley, they helped us at the start initially with it as well, and it was really good. They were a great help, great driving force, particularly in the Paisley area. And it then kind of just took off with volunteers, and people saw what we're doing. We asked friends and family, "Would you like to kind of come on board?" And we're now sitting at over 100 volunteers, so it's fantastic. It's a great team. We just love it. We're all very passionate about it.
Brilliant. So, I mean, you mentioned there that you had the red bag drop off at Christmas time. I know that you do a heck of a lot more than just the red bag drop-off. What other services is it you're offering here?
So one of the things that we did when we had a place in Ayr High Street, and people were giving us, particularly during the pandemic, people were giving us second-hand toys, and there's no second-hand stuff because out in the red bags it's all brand new. But we didn't want to put these to landfill. And like, what do we do with them? You know, these are really good toys and really good clothes. We decided to have a wee shop. We had a wee window shop, and then we opened up a shop. So I've got a team that's manned by one of our elves, Karen, and we have a team of elves working within this baby to teen shop in here, which is all second-hand stuff. It's beautiful. The women have it like amazing. Karen's mum, Wilma, and some of the other ladies in there are just absolutely fantastic. Have it sitting beautiful, and we managed to. So all the money we make from the second-hand clothes goes back into the red bags full of joy appeal. And one of the things we did a couple of years ago, one of the school teachers had told us a really sad story, and that kind of broke my heart, about a young girl who had went to a Christmas party. She'd been asked to put on her best outfit, and she turned up in a school uniform which had been donated to her. So again, we do lots of things where we'll give like dresses, party wear to local schools. We give warm jackets so that if a child turns up at school without a jacket. So these are second hand as well, but they're in very good condition. We give Christmas jumpers, for example, Halloween outfits, so lots of different things. And it's nice to see that the campaign started off as a Christmas campaign where we could literally just come in the month of November, we could start thinking about it. We could go, yeah, that's, we'll get these things all sorted. Now we literally get 2 weeks off in January, and then I have my angel of women that are in the place where we are just now in Ambank Village Hall, and they are packing from January all the way through to December. We have a storage unit outside which is filled with hundreds of packages all ready to go, just ready to put the big toys in, the chocolate. So we have Liz and Morag and Faye and a couple of the other women who come up and kind of help them throughout the week. They're up 4 times a week up here packing, and they are absolute angels. They enjoy doing it. If they didn't enjoy doing it, I don't think they'd be up here, but they enjoy doing it. And for me, certainly, and my mum, and leading the charity, that's what we need. We need the volunteers within the charity who are able to say, well, I'll take on that. What I call it is our superpower. I say everybody's got a superpower. My superpower is talking, because I can talk the hind legs of a donkey. So that's my superpower, is talking. But everybody's got a superpower. So a lot of our women are good organisers. We have a couple of other women that go out and do like talks to schools. We have a couple of the girls that go out and do mascots. I've got Kenny, my driver, who is kind of head of the kind of transportation side of things for getting things out, the red bags out. So everybody's got their superpower. And for me and my mum, it's just a matter of trying to find out what that superpower is, get it out of them, and then use it to our best advantage in the charity, and just say, this is what you're good at. And the thing that we've found is, if we bring out the superpower of that volunteer, then they just love doing it. It's not a chore to them. They'll come in, they'll spend lots of time doing it, and they just revel in it. So for us, it's like, dig out people's superpower, and then they'll stay with you forever. So this is what we're hoping that we're doing well. It's just a joy. It's just a joy to work with such kind-hearted people. It really, really is. It motivates me and my mum every day. My mum has actually got MS, so again, that's why I think she is a superwoman, and she still manages to get out of bed. She does all the buying of the products and different things. She's a whiz kid on the computer. So for me, it's just, I'm glad to be doing it alongside my mum. I'm glad to be doing it alongside my daughter. It's very much a family thing, but then we're friends have became family because they're like the real family.
Now, you mentioned there that you've got premises here at Anbank itself in the community centre. How did that come about? Because I remember we're sitting in the building just now, and it's a fantastic building. It's a cracking size inside.
Yeah, it's an amazing building. I mean, and I'm born and bred in Anbank, so the village hall has been part of our lives for like forever. We did have premises. We worked out of storage rooms in here where we had to wear fingerless gloves. It was that cold. It wasn't a good place for us at all. We thought we were going to get frostbite. We've had another premises which didn't work out. And then when we heard they were actually going to be knocking down Anbank Village Hall, so we were asked to see if we would form a group that could take over the village. So actually we head the Anbank Community Association, which basically runs the hall. So from this hall, we have karate in it, musical theatre, over 60s club, Pilates, yoga, a mental health group. We're having a Bible class just started in here. So we have lots of things, within the village hall. And in the month of December, it all shuts down and we turn it into, it basically becomes like a Santa's grotto. So out of here last year, £342,000 worth of donations came out the door of this wee village hall and went across the whole southwest of Scotland. So it's kind of all hands on deck the month of December, just getting things out. Social workers come in for help, teachers come in for help, and people get referred via these bodies, these trusted bodies. And we literally, we rely. Businesses come in and help us, help with the transportation as well. So we have a lot of help from local businesses and just local people want to do a bit of good. Our thing at the start was about changing a mindset. So we said from the one random act of kindness, change a mindset so that at Christmas time, what lots of people do now, instead of doing a Secret Santa in their workplace, they'll donate to Night Before Christmas campaign. So, for example, in my workplace, I was always getting gobstoppers for my Christmas Secret Santa. 24 years I've been in the job and the gobstoppers have never shut me up yet. So for me, it's like, don't spend your money on a gobstopper, get a toy and put it into the Christmas campaign. So that's what we've tried to do with a lot of businesses, a lot of school supporters, because obviously in turn we support them, we support the children within the schools, and we have a lot of big businesses coming on to get on board. And again, about changing the mindset so that at Christmas time we want it to become a Christmas tradition, that people go out with their child, with their grandchild, with their partners and whoever, and say, right, I am going to get stuff and this is going to do a bag for whatever, and we always say to people, name the child that you're going to do. So if you've got like a 6-year-old girl that you've got in mind, say, right, well, that girl's called Katie, what would Katie like? And honestly, the amount of donations that we get and the actual toys themselves are just unbelievable, because we don't just do the bags, we also do whole Christmases for families. So last year we helped, I think it was over 200 families, and that was with things like bikes, gift vouchers. So that was, the bags are about £50, approximately £50 worth of items in each bag, but the actual whole Christmases, you could be talking up to £200 that's going out to families. And this is families that are in dire need, that Santa is not coming to. Their families, a lot of families are suffering mental health, with mental health problems, just because of the fact that they feel as though they're failing their children. So that's where we like to think we step in under the kind of cover of darkness. Elves are working under the cover of darkness. Nobody knows it's came from us. We don't advertise and say, oh, here's the Night Before Christmas, come to your house and you're getting, we've got a silver van there, it's not marked up or anything, and we'll do it when the kids are at school. We give them the wrapping paper, and all we do is we ask them to hide them until they're able to wrap them up for their kids, so that they as well, the parents, can get the joy of obviously wrapping the presents up for the kids, knowing that the kids on Christmas morning are going to be excited. So it's it gives us such a great feeling. We get such a great buzz off it. But we need to, because we're working all year round to get. But the village hall is ideal for that, so we call it Elf HQ. And it's definitely, to all the volunteers, that's what it's known as, Elf HQ. And we have our meetings in here. We have different events. We've got a launch day. We always launch at the end of August, and I know that sounds like people are going, oh my goodness, nobody wants to speak about Christmas end of August, but for us we need to get the drop-off points ready. We need to make sure we're into the school so that they know that they're referring the kids, because although we do work up till Christmas Eve, and we have every single year worked up to Christmas Eve, we're the only kind of Christmas charity that does that, and we'll take referrals, emergency ones, right up until then. But we need to have that balance. We've got the balance between our home life and our volunteering. So, but my other half just has to come up here to help me, so I gets to see me. But it's good. It is very good, and the hall is ideal for this, the ideal space for us.
The one thing I've picked up on straight away when you're telling me, everything you've had by there, is it's a community hall that you've taken on, but it still is very much a community.
Yes.
Though you've got lots of organisations using it. I'm assuming it's open basically day and night, and even the weekends, depending.
Yeah, so people book through. There's parties. There's 40 birthday parties. There was an 18th birthday party on Friday night. So there's lots of there's been weddings in here. We've got a lovely outdoor space as well that we managed to get a grant for last year, and we turned it into, we've got what I like to call the gin shed. I've had one gin in it because we're busy, but I'm still calling it the gin shed in the hope that it will be used for that. And we have a men's shed that we've started working on, and that's already been kitted out by Kenny, who's our driver, but also my go-to man for everything else. And we have in there, we've got like a workspace and a bar area as well, so like a workspace, but just a place where men can kind of go and if they want to play dominoes or they want to. So we're hoping this year we're hoping to kind of get that finished and get that up and running so that the space can be utilised outside, because it's not as good day to day, but on a glorious sunny day it's absolutely amazing out the back door.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The idea of having a men's shed, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the idea. Yeah. But I know that you don't have staff as such here, and you've mentioned volunteers. What is the nucleus of the organisations? Obviously, you mentioned your mum. I know you mentioned divers there as well. Who are we classing as sort of non-volunteers? And as I say, you've got your elves who are your volunteers. Mm-hmm. You're all volunteers, realistically. But who's actually sort of running the organisation then? Yourself, your mum?
Me and mum. me and mum, and we have... There's a kind of main core team. So there's a main core team, and the main core team's with... So myself, my mum, we've got our friends Maggie, Louise, Karen, Liz, Kenny and Natalie and Lisa Marie, and we kind of all just... some people are better at other things. We've got a lady, new, she does our accounts for us and different things. So everybody, as I say, brings in what they've got to the team. So we have like main core meetings with the kind of main team, or main core decisions. We have like a messenger group, and we bounce off each other. As I say, Karen runs the baby to teen, so that runs on its own. That's you've got a very, very good kind of team there. Natalie helps with trying to get the funding stream in. Trying to get his funds, which are hard to get these days. I think everybody's trying to get funds, and then we have all the other girls. We're all involved in the fundraising that we have to do throughout the year, in order that we can sustain the charity. Because if we we can't just rely on the funding. We need to rely on us doing the fundraising, and also other businesses and schools do a lot of fundraising for us. Cricket clubs, bowling clubs. There's lots of people will just step in and luckily do fundraising for us, which is amazing, because, to be honest, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't exist. Do
you know, it's one of the things here, just because you've mentioned funding there, I'll move on to them, as we save it for a bit later on, but when you're talking about funding, you've said there, for instance, that you struggle with funding, so where does the majority of your funding come from? Is it donations from like people that know the organisation, that live in the local area, or are you still able to apply for funding?
No, we're still able to apply. The problem that we have is that we don't have any paid volunteers, so we've got no paid. So it's kind of hard as well to do that. But we apply for funding. We're quite good. South Ayrshire Council were really good with us last year, and we got 2 lots of funding off them. I think it was $9,000 and $7,000, and that was really, really good. But what we try to do is lots of people and lots of individuals do fundraising. We have kids that do fundraising things for us, basketball hoop dunks, things like that. We have fundraising within schools where teachers decorate their doors. So all those £100, £200, they all make a huge difference to us. We have the kilt walk we do every year, and Stagecoach were great this year. They supplied the buses to us, and a lot of their staff did it. So we had 47 elves, I think, walking the kilt walk this year.
Yeah.
Plan to have more, we have over 100 next year if possible. And we're launched in August 27th. That's always quite a good fundraiser. Heads of Ayr Farm Park, where Elf Sarah, who is the manager up there, she has a Christmas in July day, so we had that on Wednesday. Again, that's another good fundraiser for us. So we just kind of try, anytime we see funding coming up, funding streams, we just like, right, we'll try and apply for that. We've had many notebacks. Natalie, who does a lot of the paperwork for us in relation to that, we're trying not to get ourselves down with the notebacks, because we then relish when it comes in and they say, oh, you've got some funding. But what we don't want to, we rely heavily on individuals giving us the donations. We like people to go out and buy the stuff, because they know then that's where it's going. Some kid's going to get that. So that's a big part of it. But for us, we have insurances to pay. We have mileage to pay for volunteers. We have volunteers coming from far and wide too. So we need to, although it's a charity, we need to look at it, because it's so big now, is having a business head on as well and saying, right, we need to make sure that every year we have these fundraising streams that can come in. So that's why the Kilt Walk's a big one for us, Heads of Ayr Farm Park, and we're launch day. And if we have those 3, and then just on top of them have the other people helping us. So we're very lucky to be surrounded by lots of people who go out to their workplaces. And I mean, last Christmas was amazing, the amount of, we had gyms doing things for us, we had big factories doing, fundraising things for us. They would be selling cakes and just doing various things in order to help us, because they know, and the majority of them that have come up and seen us, particularly here at Christmas time, are like, no, we need to help you. You know, so when they see it, when they hear some of the stories that we have that we've had to deal with in the past, like, no, we need to help. So I always say kindness is contagious, and once someone has that bit of kindness and then talks to their friends about it, oh, I'd like to do that. So I'm glad that kindness is contagious, because it means then charities like ourselves survive, because otherwise we would not be able to survive. Not be able to survive without the help of just kind-hearted people.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You know, I mean, you mentioned there that the amount of funding that you get through applications is minimal, and the amount of knockbacks you've had. See, just touching on that is, when it comes to actually applying for funding, I think you said it was one of your colleagues that does that application. Is there anything you can think of that you could give as a piece of advice when applying for funding, things to avoid doing, or things that you've really got to do, to sort of help secure that funding?
Well, statistics are good. So we didn't at the start, I must admit, we were just helping people, and we weren't really counting what we were helping. We were just like, right, oh, this person's came to us this. And then when we came down to applying for funding, like, how many people did you help last year? We're like, oh, don't really, I'll need to go back and check. So for us, it was about statistics. So that's why when I count it up and we look at it in monetary value, particularly if we're saying each bag is like £50 worth. So when you're going for funding, we're saying, well, £500 would be X amount of bags. So that and have it like that, or have it for a particular. Obviously our particular project is the Red Bags Full of Joy, so we kind of have to narrow it down and say, well, this is what we need it for. And if we're saying, well, this amount of funding will provide help to these amount of people, then that's good for us. But statistics, and that's the hard part, the paperwork side of it. If it was only about going and making up the bags, and it would be easy as pie, but in the background, the paperwork is like a mountain high. It really is a mountain high. So doing that, but trying to kind of have a good system in place. So every year we're learning. So every year we're saying, right, well, we need to do this better. This year we're coming up with a better referral form, which we'll come into is a bit easier. But if you can imagine, we have the website to kind of look at, which is getting done. Bishop Briggs School of Music, they're taking that one this year for us, and they're going to do the website. So that takes that hassle off us. Yeah. And they're going to do our leaflets as well. So again, that's a big thing, because for us it's about getting. So again, and that's a cost to us. So they're taking that cost on. And for us, it's about seeing what people can help us with. There's lots of people who will come and say, well, I can help you, but I don't know how to help you. And when we're looking at it as a funding as well, like to see your in-kind help. So they like to see that you've actually got, so for example, the leaflets are been sourced by the Bishop Briggs School of Music. They like to see that. They like to see that you've actively went out and sought help or tried to get a reduction in things. So throughout the year, what we do is we buy things at the cheapest of prices. So Mum, for example, £3 pyjamas. She'll look online at Christmas time, you're talking £15 a set of pyjamas. So if you can get them in the sales, which our women work in a wee dream team in here, they go out, and if they see stationery in the sales, you'll see down beside you there is pencil cases. With a big thing about pencil cases, they've got to have a certain amount of pencils in them, and they must have a rubber and a sharpener. And the women are passionate about doing these bags. They want to make sure that, say for example, two sisters are getting a bag, that's going to be the same. It's going to be the same stuff in that bag, so there's not going to be any gunning because one's got a better bag than the other. They're exactly the same. And we have we make sure there's toiletries in it, toothpaste, child smell is a big help for us as well. So they provide us with toothpaste, toothbrushes, and it's just the funding side of things. I think it's about, if you can say, like for example, we're getting help with the leaflets, we're getting help with the toothbrushes, and you can actually say that within your funding, and the figures is a big thing. So Natalie, as I say, she's very, very good at applying for the funding for us, and she's very good with the words. I would just blather on in a funding thing. She's very good with the wording of it.
And I think one of the things I'm picking up from that as well is that realistically, anyone that's applying for funding is really doing it like a year in retrospect. Yes, because they've got to have done what they're trying to show that what they're claiming for the following year. Mm-hmm. So I can understand how you really need to keep records and try and monitor exactly everything that you're doing, so you can put that detail on those application forms. And there's a couple of things I picked up there as well, that. It, 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 it just shows how far reaching your organisation is as well, because you're able but you're working with an organisation which is in Eastern Berkshire, being the Bishop Briggs School of Music.
So the Bishop Briggs School of Music, and they actually stay in Anback. That's why we've got. So they stay in Anback, and they have the Ayr School of Music. Right. But we have, I mean, we cover with the charity, because the charity covers the southwest of Scotland. So we cover all the way down to Dumfries and Galloway. So we help all the way down there. We cover up to the other side of Glasgow. We have lots of big firms. So we've got Jaguar and things like that up in Glasgow who will do drop-off points for us. We're always desperate for drop-off points because people want to help, but they don't know where to take the things to. So every year we have a map, and I think last year we had about 60 drop-off points across the southwest of Scotland, but we're always desperate. So I've actually got the Police and Youth Division this year. We're going to have drop-off points in all the police stations as well. So that's going to be great. And again, every year it's just about learning. We kind of, although we're based in South Ayrshire, we obviously help all the Ayrshires, and we did last year the Kilmarnock Sleigh Team, Santa Sleigh Team. We won a friend of mine's that runs it, Craig, and he did it for a different charity every year, but he's obviously one of my elves, so he has actually said, can we do it every year for Night Before Christmas campaign? It ties in well, and that's just it's a great opportunity for our volunteers to get out there, shaking their buckets, jingling their jangle sticks, and going about and actually we go round about with Santa Sleigh, and just to see the kids when we go round about all the Kilmarnock, it's great because Santa's up there, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. We go round about dressed in character often, and it's just a bit of fun. It's again some for the volunteers to do, some for our young volunteers can get involved in. Both young and old can get involved in it, but it is it's just about trying to. We don't want to be like doing something and then someone else is doing it. So we're joining up with different people that are doing the same type of thing as us. So for example, in Troon they have the Micah project, which is great, which works at the church in Troon. But they were doing similar thing as in helping at Christmas. So we've joined up, and they will give a bag full of second-hand clothes. It's a fantastic bag, and we'll give a red bag full of joy. So they'll put the referral into us. So again, it's about linking up with people who are doing the same as us, and then let's all work together. Let's all work together to actually make sure that kids get this special time at Christmas. But as well, because we work with vulnerable adults, we come across lots of people, particularly the last couple of years, with mental health issues where we've maybe been referred by social workers, by police to say, this person is really struggling. In fact, I just put a post on Facebook this morning about it, about a fella who had taken his own life because he was in dire straits money-wise, and he couldn't afford a Christmas. And this is the one thing, this is us about, we try to get out to people. We are here to help. There's very, very few people that I will turn away. I think I've turned away one in the time, and it was because they were just at it. But the rest of people come through social workers. People contact us through our social media, and then we'll refer them to the social worker in their area or the school teacher. And all the schools can refer into us and just send the form into us, and then we'll do it via there. So often we don't really get to meet a lot of the people because it goes out via social workers. Again, there's the kind of embarrassment thing. People don't want to ask for help, but that's what we're here for, and that's what we're really passionate about. And we have lots of people coming to us who are working and who are struggling, but are so embarrassed because they're working and they feel they should be able to. But as everyone knows, the cost of living crisis is hitting everybody hard. So we want to make sure that we're there for everybody that needs a bit of help. And luckily, due to our volunteers as well, who people often go to our volunteers and say, can we ask for help? How do we ask for help? So it's great. The more volunteers that we have, the more people we can reach out to and say, please don't be frightened to come and ask for help, because that is what we're here for, and that is what we love doing. If we ultimately can save one life by just being this charity exists, that's enough for me. That's enough for my volunteers. If we can save one life and make sure that that person is there for their kids, then I'm happy. My job's done. That's all we want to do. So, but also the volunteer side of things. Many of our volunteers have come back and said how helpful it has been being part of a team and not having someone have your back. Having someone that's looking out for you, that's checking in, saying, "Are you okay? Do you want to come up to do this with me?" And that for me, there's people I would never have met had I not done the charity. And I'm just so lucky. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by this wealth of amazing, kind-hearted people who are on the same wavelength as me. They maybe think I'm a bit nuts, but they don't think I'm nuts all the time. But they maybe think, I've got an idea, and they're like, let's just cover with their ideas, send it away. but who actually go along with it. And when they come up with ideas, I don't think I've turned away an idea yet, because the volunteers all come from different backgrounds. So they all bring something to the table. Each and every one of them brings something to the table. And when they come up with ideas, I love just rolling with them and saying, well, let's go with that. Let's see if we can do it. So whether it's fundraising ideas, whether it's ideas about helping different groups of people, or whether it's just ideas of how we get the word out about the charity, I will take on all their ideas and run with it and say, fantastic. Because mine's my mum's brains can only hold so much. We need other people to come up with ideas as well. So it's very good.
And I think you're right. Over the last couple of years, my family have been involved in doing charity work. You're right, that the amount of just fantastic people you meet out, the amount of organisations, that are doing tremendous work that nobody knows about, or it's only a pocket of people know about. And that's one of the reasons why we're trying to do the podcast as well, is just to promote these organisations. I mean, I've got about 20 so far that have told me that they want to join in. And when I start to look into these organisations more and more, checking out the social media and whatnot, it always amazes me and impresses me just how much money, effort, time and dedication people are putting in to helping others. And it's true again, just like you say, people come in with ideas, and we're the same. The podcast thing is just something that's developed from something else. There's never been any real direction with us, and things just go off on a tangent all the time because, well, there's something that's really good. Well, let's get involved with that. Yeah. Then it's, so things just develop all the time, just much like you're saying with yourself. You mentioned there again, just, social media and your webpage as well. And I know through talking to you beforehand, your webpage isn't up to date just now.
No,
You mentioned there it is going to be getting updated and so on, which I am so pleased to hear because we are doing so much that it just isn't mentioned on that.
I know, and I think we do a lot. I'm kind of old school, so we do a lot on Facebook, but we're having to get the younger ones within us to go say, right, we need to put more on Instagram and TikTok, and Twitter. But we don't, but a lot of the schools work via Twitter and that now, so we're trying. This year will be more of a push to try and get things out there because, for example, our mascot goes about a lot of the things. So we have the Emerald, the elf, and Ernie the elf go about, and the kids love it within the schools. We've been at we go to various fun days with it, and it's a great wee photo opportunity. The Heads of Bear Farm Park Day, when we did that, people were like, oh, it's elves here, and it's like, it's just sunny. So again, it's a talking point for people, and we're really bad. We have been really, really bad at, we just kind of do the things, and we don't shout about it, and then we get told off for people saying, you're doing such great stuff, you need to be shouting more about it, and we're like, yeah, we don't really have the time to shout about it, So we are trying to get so much better with that, because we do know social medias. In fact, someone was talking to me the other day about reels, and I know for myself, I'll scroll through a reels and I'll be like, oh, that's a good reel. So we're trying to kind of do that where things will, well, a bit like what you're saying yourself with the podcast, it's just about getting the word out there, because we're a very small chat. We don't have any as I say, any paid members. We're all volunteers. We all do it in our spare time that we have. So for us, it's about make the most of that and make sure that we get that out there and feed that out to people, that's what we're doing. But yeah, it is hard. We don't often like to blow our own trumpet sometimes. If we get there, we're like, oh, I don't want to put that on because folk will people. But really, it's about, if we are then explaining to people what we do, we can then help more people because then they find out about us. So it's about doing that and getting more people on board, more businesses on board. When you look at the amount of businesses and schools we've got across the southwest of Scotland, like if even a quarter of those helped us, it would just be amazing. At the moment, we're sitting at 6,700 or something likes on our Facebook page. So if each person just donated one toy, that would be enough to. We have the Amazon wish list as well. So we have family and friends in England, and we have family and friends abroad who will donate via that. It comes straight to my mum's house in Ann. So the wee guy that delivers a van at Christmas time, we can't get in the front door because of all the stuff that's been delivered. So it's that's fantastic, because people that maybe aren't local can still help, and they can actually go on and physically pick the things that we say we're running out of. So we always keep that updated with what we need. So running up to Christmas last year, people forget about wee boys. So we had from age 8+, we're totally running out of jammies, we're totally running out of toys for them. So then we put that onto our Amazon wish list, and then we put out an appeal, and then it comes. So that's good from that point of view. So we do try and use the different outlets that we can to get the donations in to us. But we're just learning every year. Yeah. Even though we're 9 years in, I still feel we're in our infancy. And we're just trying to get things right. Each year we will take the volunteers and we'll say to them, what can we improve upon? What can we do? What can we improve upon? And just do baby steps with it. Try to make it work.
Yeah. And you mentioned that again, that the webpage is getting updated, and it's great having a webpage, but it is hard to keep on top of
Yes.
social media such as your Facebook and your Instagram. It can be instant in what's happening tomorrow or the next week or the next month. And it is a lot easier, but it is a lot of work still as well. And I know how much, my wife deals with Heather's social media. She does her Facebook pages, and we don't have half the amount of stuff that you have going on.
And it's a good way. John, one of our else, who's Natalie's husband, actually, he made the web page, and it's a great web page, as in the fact that it's got everything that we need in there. But what we're hoping to do with the Bishopbrigg School of Music, Near School of Music, Paul and Ross are working on it right now. The guys from there and there, they will hopefully be doing it where we have like a volunteer page as well, so people can go in and say, right, how can I volunteer and what's involved in the volunteering, and just spotlight on some volunteers as well. That's a big thing for me. I want to be able to spotlight some of the volunteers that we have, and do it where it's maybe like spotlight 1 month from someone and kind of just explaining their story, how they came to be about, how they came to be involved in the charity, and what they get out of the charity. So for us, that's really important. It's really important for me that we keep the kind of stars that we have, and get more stars in, but keep the stars that we have, because they are the glue that holds it all together. Yeah, my mum and me are the driving force behind it, but without a shadow of a doubt, it would not be what it is without the volunteers that we have. And they're giving up so much of their time, so much of their effort. Some of them are living and breathing Christmas. I say it's like snot and tinsel sometimes. This is what we're doing, but it is it's a joy to then be about these people with the same kind of mindset as yourself.
Yeah. Just looking at yourself, and if we go back to when you were younger, not that we're saying you're old, so when you were younger, were you involved in any charity work back then yourself? Was it?
Well, we've always been involved in community side of things, as in the gala days within Anne Bank. So that was kind of basically because of my mum and gran, they were always involved in that. So inadvertently, we didn't know we were involved in kind of giving help to other people, but we just were. And I think probably, like, because being brought up with having that kindness at the core of whatever it was that we did, it kind of fell naturally to us that's what we would kind of do. It's not seen as a chore for us to kind of say, right, well, let's do some good, because it's always something that we have done. We've always been quite passionate about. If things come up, even within the charity, things come up like Kincaidstone, when they had the explosion at Kincaidstone, immediately we'd heard about it, and we were on a group chat, and I said to girls, right, let's get into the hall, let's get some clothes, let's get baby bottles, let's get stuff down. They'll be going to a local community centre probably. And we did that. Ukrainian crisis, when that happened, we managed to get lots of donations. I mean, lots. We became a hub for that. And then we managed to help get 2 big trucks out to Ukraine. So different things, although the charity is this Red Bags Full of Joy, because we've already got this ready set group of people who are willing to help, then when things like that just do come up in the community, we do kind of tend to just jump on it and say, right, we'll help. We've got a team, we'll help.
And it's funny that the majority of organisations I talk to are much like yourself, that there's been an event or something that's happened that's driven them or led them into doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're very much like that. There's been an event that's happened, and it's just started pushing you in this direction, and it's just exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as I said, there seems to be so many like that. I think a lot of us get into charity work sort of subconsciously,
yes,
without thinking, and then it does sort of just seem to drag you in.
Yeah,
which is great. As I say, the more you do it, the more you're around people that are like-minded, and that is just fantastic. And it is obviously one of the things we're looking to try and promote as well, is volunteer work.
Yes.
And I know obviously you get lots of volunteers, and I will bring my daughter in a little bit later on to ask you a question specifically on volunteering, because you have so much going on there. It's just incredible again. You have got a little bit of stuff here with volunteers, for instance, all doing different sorts of things. Is there any training that they require?
The actual filling of the red bags, that is a big thing for us, because we are a bit pernickety about what we have going. So, for example, under 3s aren't allowed any teddy bears with glass eyes.
Yes.
People donate stuff, and sometimes they don't understand, like their 15-year-old boy might be shaving, so they'll put in razors because they put in toiletries, but we can't give out the razors. So there's very much, come Christmas time, when it is the red bag side of things for packing, then we are like, right, okay, we need to make sure. So everybody kind of gets a one-to-one. We've actually got training coming up. We managed to do fundraising for a defib for outside the village hall. So we've got training coming up with Heart Start for first aid training. So that'll be, all the volunteers are invited along to that. And it's kind of within the shop. Karen has a training thing for obviously using the till, and we have a lot of kids through the shop as well that are involved in the Duke of Edinburgh. So we take on a lot of Duke of Edinburgh kids who'll help here and help in the shop. So again, it's good for them because they're getting the training of being involved, customer service and working a till sort of thing, and like going through the donations that are coming in and making it seem what's right, what can go out and what can't. So I think there's training in regards to that, but what we look for volunteers is just people who, we don't expect people to give up loads and loads of the time. We give up loads of time because we want to do that. A lot of our volunteers give up lots of time because they want to do that, but what we're just looking for is the first initial bit needs to be that people are just kind and they want to help, and then from there we take on the rest. And if they need to be trained up in certain aspects of what it is that we're doing, how we do it, confidentiality is a big thing for us. So there's only a few of us within the team who are aware of where the items are going to, and we're very precious about that because it's we just want to make sure that that's kind of kept confidential. So we have got a lot of training with ourselves around that. We've got a long way to go with training, I have to admit. We've got a long way to go, as in we could be doing so much more, but we're getting there. We're from what we were, which was, the boxes were all up and down my mum's steps in our house, to where we are right now, as in we're here now. We've actually just taken taken rent of 3 porta cabins, and we've taken over, we're working in partnership now with the South Ayrshire School Clothing Bank, which last year provided 1,800 school uniforms to kids in South Ayrshire. So we've got we'll use one of the porta cabins for that, which means that teachers or social workers can come up, and if they need school uniforms, they submit a form to us, they can come up and they can pick the school uniforms. So it's great to be able to kind of join forces with, like St Nicola, who does the South Ayrshire School Clothing Bank, join forces with her and kind of all her expertise that she's done and she's been involved with in the charity, and kind of bring it into ours. So, and we obviously gel so well together as both the charities, and Nicola didn't have a lot of volunteers, whereas we did. So instead of, it was very difficult for her. But what we've done now is we've all came together, and now it's just got a new lease of life, and she's managed to get quite a bit of funding through, and it's great because it just means that we're then able to help so many kids. School uniform is such a basic necessity need, but we have lots of families, although there's a school clothing grants, we have lots of families that don't get that, but they still need that wee bit of help as well. So we kind of want to be there to kind of catch that. So it's it's about working together and trying to all do our own wee bit to make sure that everybody gets a bit of help.
Brilliant. Future then, what is the future for Night Before Christmas? What does the next 12 months hold? Is there anything in particular you're aiming to try and achieve at this point in time?
Yes, there is. I am trying, basically we try to achieve to make Christmas special for everyone, and that's our whole goal every single year. But outside with the containers that I spoke about, I have said we'll turn it into an elf village. So it's going to be an elf village, and one of the things we're having in the middle of it is a Christmas tree. And everybody thinks I'm barking mad, and I'm like, no, we'll have a Christmas tree, we'll have a little courtyard for our volunteers. We've got a beautiful view out here down onto the fields. So we want, as well as being a working place for our volunteers, we want this also to be a kind of social place where they can come, they can chill, they know their friend's going to come up and do a bit of volunteer work, so they'll come up, have a cup of tea and a cake. And if everything had its place and there was a container for everything, I would be so much more happier inside my head. Now, just now, you do not want to see what's inside my head with all the stuff that I would like to do and put into containers. So if we can get the containers, what it means is we can use the funds to the best effect by buying the stuff when it's on sale at cost price and not having to wait until December. Because if you can imagine, over 6,800, there's just absolutely no way we would get donations in for that amount. So we do need to, throughout the year, have the other donations coming in. We do need to be buying stuff when we see it at cut down prices. So whenever like Pound Stretchers or Asda Primark has a sale on, we're straight in there taking the whole, we'll take the whole shelf. That's lots of pencil cases. We'll just be taking all of those. So, if it's like we get like wee phone calls, such and such has got a sale on, right, I'll be in there. But again, a lot of the stores help us. So Primark and Air helps us. Air Central's coming on board with us this year. Superdrug helps us. If they have a sale on, they'll get in contact with us and say, Jodie's going to be a sale, and we'll just go in first thing and kind of nab as much as we can. Because again, rather than paying £15 for a set of jammies, we'd rather pay just £3 and make the money go that wee bit further. So, and the toys, when we have lots of like the big toys, like your big Legos and things like that, and we'll try and buy them throughout the year with funding that we get in. So if we had the container spaces, it would mean then we can make more of these bags up, because I say the women make the bags up all throughout the year, but we could be so much more organised. So that's my big goal, is that we are super organised. I know it might never happen, but that's my dream. And again, this Christmas tree in the middle of Elf Village, that's my thing.
Well, I think it sounds absolutely fantastic. I really do. And I wish you luck trying to get that up and running. And to be honest, from what I've seen and heard from you, I'm sure you will get it up.
Yes, I'm determined.
And now, this is leading on to the last part of the programme now. I'm going to bring in my daughter, Heather, who's going to be asking questions about volunteering opportunities within the night before Christmas. The reason why Heather's involved with the podcast, for those of you who have not listened to the introductory podcast, shame on you from the start. Where have you been?
It's a great podcast.
Yes, why haven't you listened to your podcast? The reason behind it is simply because Heather is an ambassador for the British Citizens Award, and she's just recently become an ambassador for the I Will movement as well. So part of her remit, if you want, is to try and promote volunteering. And that is the reason, really, why the podcast came about. So if you love the podcast, brilliant. That was my idea. If you hate the podcast, it's down to here. And yeah, we would love to hear your comments and let us know exactly what you think of the podcast. Because it's on YouTube, you've got a chance there to leave comments. So please do. Hit the like button if you like it. If you don't, just don't. Hit the like button anyway. Okay, so I'll bring in Heather.
Hi, my name is Heather Bryson, and I'm here to talk to Jodie about volunteering. Are you looking for any volunteers at the moment?
Heather, we are always in the hunt for volunteers, because without the volunteers, we definitely couldn't run the charity. So we always look for volunteers, and they can get in touch by various means. They can get in touch with us via our email, or through our Facebook pages, and just ask to speak to us. So we have lots of people who throughout the year will come on board and ask us if they can volunteer. So yeah, we're always looking for volunteers.
How old are your volunteers?
Right, well, our youngest is 5. So we very much are family orientated, and our oldest, I think, is about 89. So we have a wide range of volunteers. We look to make sure that we have a wide range, because as well, some adults like to volunteer, but they have children. So they maybe can't give it their time, but if they can bring the kids along, then they can give it their time. There's lots of things we can do with children with the fundraising, things like that. So all ages.
What do you expect from a volunteer?
First of all, we just expect them kindness. We just expect them to have a big dose of kindness. If they've got a big dose of kindness, that is that we are good to go. And from there on, we kind of show them the ropes, as in what it is we do, how we promote the charity. So there's lots of things that they can get involved in, but basically just to have a big heart. We just need them to have a big heart.
What benefits can volunteering bring to organisations?
Well, without our volunteers, we would not have an Elf HQ, we would not have our Baby to Teen shop, we would not have the Red Bags Full of Joy campaign. So the benefits that volunteers bring is that it becomes a big, huge team with the one same goal in mind. And for us, it's about bringing the magic to people at Christmas time.
Do you have a standout volunteer or someone in the community that you are aware of who goes above and beyond?
To be honest, Heather, they all do above and beyond. They are all amazing. As I was speaking to your dad earlier, I'll class them as everyone has a superpower. So we find that superpower, we take that superpower from them and say, this is how we can get involved in the charity. So for example, we have people who are very good at sorting out the bags. We have others that are very good at fundraising. We have others who are our mascots. We have drivers. We have lots of people who basically stand out just by being them, just by being amazing. So there's not really, I can honestly hand in heart say there's not one that stands out to me, because they all stand out to me. They're all amazing. Couldn't do it without them.
How long do volunteers tend to stay with the organisation?
Well, Heather, once the volunteers come on board, they very rarely leave because they enjoy it so much. So when we get them, we've had volunteers that have been with us from the very start who are still with us. And obviously, as I was speaking to your dad, family don't get to leave because they're family, so they get roped in. So, me and my mum rope in everybody. We've got my little sister, my other half, my kids as well. They're all involved in it. And they kind of see it becomes part and parcel of their daily life to kind of be involved in the Night Before Christmas campaign. They speak about it everywhere they go. If they go to the hairdressers, the dentists, you'd be amazed at how many people we get on board because they go there and they say, "Have you heard about I'm an elf in the Night Before Christmas campaign?" And they just enjoy being it. We have our own little identity. We have our own little team. And again, that becomes a superpower in itself because we're all joined up together as one big group, all kind of looking out for each other. So they don't tend to leave. Once they're here, we kind of keep them.
What do you think it is that motivates them?
I think that different people have got different reasons for being involved with the charity. We have some people who are involved because they've had a bereavement in their family and they were perhaps caring for people and they've now lost them and they just want to do something with their time that's worthwhile. So we do have that within the charity. A lot of people we actually have within volunteering who we have managed to help in previous years and they want to come back into the charity to pay it forward. So we have a lot of people like that. We have a lot of young people who do the Duke of Edinburgh through us. We have, in fact, one girl, Zara, who's done her Duke of Edinburgh but now stayed on with us. She's now part of the Baby to Teen team in the shop. So we have lots of people who are doing it for various reasons. Everybody, I say, has got a backstory. So everybody's got a backstory that they come to us with. And hopefully there are times in their life that we can help them through. Some of them are suffering mental health problems. I think we all suffer from mental health issues. Everybody does at one stage in their life. So hopefully we feel that we can kind of be there. And as a group, they've certainly got me through a lot of the things that I've had to deal with. And as a group, we hopefully get them through anything they have to deal with. So I think it's just the fact that we're kind of joined together as a big group of elves who we're having fun with a very, very serious issue. It's a very serious issue how people are struggling. But we like to think that within our organisation, we turn that very serious issue into something that's fun for our volunteers to do, but knowing at the end of the day that they can help. So come Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, every one of my volunteers without fail will be sitting there and should be patting themselves on the back. And like me, I'm a bit of an emotional wreck come Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because I'm counting up the statistics of how many we've helped. Last Christmas, I think I cried for a full hour because one, out of exhaustion, but two, because we managed to help so many. But every one of them has that great feeling on, at Christmas time to know that they've helped. Now, we might never get to know a lot of the time. We don't get to know a lot of the people that we do help. We have some stories that we come back to say we've helped, and I think that's what keeps the volunteers going. So when I can relate to them without giving out names, and I can relate to them about certain stories about individuals. We had one boy that we helped, and the father had come back to tell the woman who'd referred him that night he intended on committing suicide and taking his own life. But because of the elves, because she joked about it and says, "Oh, the elves will help you." He says because we'd come in and helped him, he decided he had something to live for. So from that point of view, those stories keep us going. Those stories knowing that even out of those thousands of people that we help, if we can change a life and put someone in a different pathway and change in a different direction onto a better path, then that for us and for all the volunteers is enough for us. So definitely when we get the volunteers, we are talking about the kindest people in society all joining together. And a bit like what you've been doing with your volunteer work, it's about when you start doing that one thing, it becomes quite contagious, isn't it? And you want to do more and more, and you find other people you want to help. So that's a bit like us. It's a kind of contagious thing. So it's a bit like having an illness. It's like having a kindness illness, but it's the best illness to have.
Jodie, that's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. It really has. Unfortunately, we have to end it.
Yeah.
I know you could talk for and I'd be
Oh,
quite happy to talk for weeks to you because you've got just so much fantastic information there to share with everyone. I'd just like to say again, if anyone wants to get in contact with Jodie or Night Before Christmas, keep listening and watching the podcast because right at the end we'll put up details there for you to get in contact if you want. Please leave some comments. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thanks very much for your time, Jodie. From me, Gary Bryce.
And Heather.
Thank you very much, Jodie.
no problem. Thank you for listening.
Thanks. Till next time.
Bye. Bye.